Kevin Griffin of Better Than Ezra and my paths have crossed numerous times over the years. In fact, it started way back in 1996 when we were signing on a brand new radio station in New Orleans, and we played their song King of New Orleans over and over and over again.
They played it for 24 hours.
That's how I got to New Orleans, was 106.7 The End. That was how I ended up here. And then it was like hanging out with you guys. It seemed like you were in and out of the station all the time. And it was it was a magical time. With music was so big in 96. Like the alternative world was just, you were in the middle of that ride.
Look, physical albums were really big. Radio was big. The only way you could hear new songs was radio. Internet didn't exist, streaming didn't exist. So I love now. I'm embracing now, and there's so many opportunities now, but it was awesome. Coming, out of the 90s and having that heyday was a gift, and I love those memories. They were just crazy great times.
Now, you guys are known as a New Orleans band, but you really got your start up in Baton Rouge, right?
We started off in Baton Rouge as a cover band. We had a couple of originals, but we cut our teeth playing party songs, 80s and 90s alt hits, and then classic party songs. So we come from a tradition, and so many of the greatest bands started off with covers. Look, you go see the Foo Fighters, it's going to be 25% covers.
You ever go back and listen to the old albums?
There's some songs on the Friction Baby album that we recorded at Kingsway right there in the quarter. And man, when I solo up some tracks, I hear those rooms, those haunted rooms of Count Arnaud's mansion there that was Kingsway. So it takes me right back to New Orleans.
Now, not only do you have Better Than Ezra going strong, you wrote a book. What's the name of this book?
It's called The Greatest Song.
Okay.
This is great, crazy. 6 years ago, it was about 3 a.m. and I was at F&M Patio Bar on Chapatulas. And nothing good happens at 3 a.m. at F&M's.
The cheese fries is the only good thing at 3 a.m.
Oh, my God, right? This one time, though, I ran into a buddy, and he was with the business group of people, and they had hired a speaker. It was Malcolm Gladwell, famous Malcolm Gladwell, and down to New Orleans to speak for him. And he goes, "Man, would you ever want to speak?" And to our group in Dallas, I was like, "Yeah." So 3 months later, I went and spoke to them, and I spoke to them about what the creative things I do to stay competitive and successful and inspired in my life and in business. 2 years ago, I started writing a book. And it's fictional. It's called A Business Parable, and then it's just taken off. It's the number one music business book right now.
The creative process always fascinates me because it is hard to keep the spark. You know what I mean? And a lot of people get it wrong, where they think you have to just sit around and wait for inspiration to hit.
Well, there's writing and being creative is a muscle, just like anything else. And what I found out is that business and life and music, it's all connected, and there's certain truths and certain wisdom that everybody successful uses, and I kind of codify those things into 5 different things. And the big thing, like what you're saying, is to stay creative. It can't be a passive thing. Inspiration has to have intention. You got to go out and seek it out. The biggest thing I talk about is daring to be stupid. And it's based on the idea that you'll never come up with anything groundbreaking unless you're prepared to fail. And you can't be worried about looking stupid and falling on your face, because the greatest people fail. And then it takes just one yes.
Do you find when you're working with artists, and you've got to rep, man, you've got to have the right hat, you've got to have the right T-shirt on, man. You find where it's hard to strip all that away and just get down to that artist, that core when you sit down with somebody?
When someone's new to writing, they've never collaborated, then they're guarded, and they're not really sure. They don't really want to be there. And often I'll write with that person, and it's their first, they've just started co-writing. It's usually just a so-so write. Then I'll encounter them 2 years later, and they're used to it and they're good at it, and then it's just awesome. You just check your ego at the door. You throw great ideas out. You really listen. Being creative and collaborating with others is a lot about listening. Given that you've surrounded yourself with really talented people, then that's when amazing things happen. Like right now, can you feel the creative effervescence, Jason?
Yeah, no, I'll come up to Nashville, and you and I will sit down and write a song, and I have no musical ability whatsoever, but I think we could come up with something pretty cool.
Man, look at us 35 years later, crushing it still.
There's only a few of us out there doing it still. It's pretty cool, man.